Hey, hello, my friends in Sasquatch land. How are you all tonight? And welcome to the first episode of Discover Sasquatch. Big, huge welcome to everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight. We have a very special guest tonight, boots on the ground with Barbara Glessner, who's a very, very, very nice lady and very friendly to talk to and very, very knowledgeable about the subject. So we would like to welcome her to the show now. Hello, Barb. How are you?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
We are doing well here in Connecticut. How's things out in Wisconsin?
It's a little damp and rainy tonight.
Yeah, we got almost 70 degrees here today for one of the first times. So
Yeah.
things are looking good.
Last couple of days we're in the 70s, and we even got to 80 on Easter Sunday. So, and that doesn't happen in Wisconsin in April. So that was a pleasant
nice.
surprise.
Yeah, that sure is nice. For everybody, this is our first attempt at doing the podcast thing, and we hope you all enjoy it tonight. I'm surely looking forward to this because Barbara has some good stories to tell us, and I'm ready to hear them all. So guess we'll start off with having Barb introduce herself, tell us a little bit about her boots on the ground group, and how she likes to investigate things out in the field.
Well, I've believed in Bigfoot and all kinds of strange critters my entire life. Hunting and fishing with my dad from an early age, and our adventures. We saw a lot of wildlife, and I would spend a lot of time out in the woods with him. When I was younger, my grandfather had a cattle farm, and we always enjoyed going out there. I grew up in southern Indiana, and then relocated up here in 1984 in south central Wisconsin. And I always enjoyed going out to the ranch and the farm. And Grandpa always had some good stories for us, that his farm was right up against Camp Atterbury, which is a very large Army base down in southern Indiana. And he had stories about animals there that he didn't quite understand, but he was sure there was a bear over there, and that it used to come up and eat apples and the berries up on the hill over the house. So that's where I think the animals, it's always intrigued me that, because everybody was like, no, there's no bear over there. But he was sure there was. And I was probably about 6 or 7. I was really young. It was the early mid 60s. And we were on our way home from there one night. We always went over there to watch Ed Sullivan. So we were on our way home from that. And my dad, he said, what is that in the road? And we stopped, and there were lots of animals in the area. There was a creek. There were mink in the creek, and we used to go watch them swim. They kind of look like otters and deer and such. But no bears or anything that far south, I don't believe, in Indiana. And he got out of the car, and there was something while we were driving home, and he said, you know, what is that? He gets out, and there's a small animal along the side of the road. And he looked at it, and I thought it was strange because he didn't even really bend down too close to it. He just kind of looked at it, come back, got in the car, and I was like, Dad, what was that? And he said, you know, I don't know, but he said, I swear it looked like a chimpanzee, but we don't have those in Indiana. So that got me started. And I tell you, I would watch every mystery animal. So I used to love, you know, the deep sea and the ocean and everything that was associated with that. Uh, we had I just loved watching those shows. You know, we go fishing, and we used to camp down at LBL, and that was our vacations. We're always camping. We went all over Illinois and Kentucky, southern Indiana. You know, we spent lots of time on Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake, and of course, I had no idea what was down there or around us. And yeah, so hiking. I've always loved outdoors. Once I moved up here, we didn't get out as much because I was mostly working. And then I retired. Company that I worked for 30 some years, moved away, and I started to work. I retired from there and started to work for Cheese Factory. Who wouldn't? It's Wisconsin, right? Who doesn't enjoy a good cheese factory?
Yeah,
And I
true.
did that for a couple of years. And then I had a health issue. I had a stroke on my 50th birthday. That's always a pleasant birthday surprise. And woke me up, and they said, okay, we need to make some changes. So that's when I got back in the woods and started hiking. And my interest, since I was retired, you know, I retired like 6 months after that. And I started hiking, and I'm do keto to make myself healthier, and started watching Woodburger Farms. That and I fit right in that little group where they're just a bunch of wonderful people over there at Woodburger. And Rick, you know, he's really good about, you know, talking to you about things. And Lady in the Woods, Dee Sims, is over there, and she taught me through a lot of things and talked to me about things. So in the fall of 2018, I decided to start a channel after I had noticed that there were things in my woods. You know, there's about a 3 mile stretch of woods that goes behind the addition there at our house. And there's a park at one end of it. And I started hiking there, and I started having some things sort of happen. I would be walking, and the first little things that started were I would hike the farm trails because of the people that live in the area where I live. In our area, there's a big dairy farm, and I've got permission from them, and they have trails through the woods, you know, for when they are out in the fields instead of going through the roads. They just go right through the woods. And so I hike through there a bit, and I started noticing that things would, somebody was walking with me. I just felt it, and that I could hear, you know, you'd hear little steps and that. And I was like, wow, you know. And then I found a couple of strange structures. I say structure loosely. They look more like art designs to me, but the way they were put together, it wasn't just trees falling down. There would be like one I saw formed a big X between 3 trees, and they were woven in, and these were like, not good dimensions, but like 8 inches across. You know, these were not like little trees that could be bent into there. And once I saw that, I started, just thinking more. I was watching Colorado Bigfoot too. Mark, I've watched him some. That's where my ideas with the structures. Although I'm not big on structures, I have such belief that there's so much going on in the woods anyway. There's a lot of trees. The root structure doesn't go down in. We've got a lot. Where I'm at is very limestoney, and trees can fall over. That's and they fall in funny ways and make things happen. And they can fall when they're young, and then trees will grow up and around things, and it looks very strange, but it's quite natural. But when I find things that are woven, then I get curious about it. I found one structure that they'd actually taken, someone had taken like a 5-foot stick, stuck it in the ground, and it was actually holding up another branch that went across. So that really, and then there also were asterisks around it, and it looked like these things had been placed. It wasn't like it looked like it had fallen. So that got
Right, I believe
me really going.
and I think you sent a picture of that, the one with the,
Uh-huh.
see if I can pull it up with the branch.
Yeah.
There it is. That's the one
Yeah.
you're about.
Yeah, with the one where the arrow goes up, that is,
Yep.
yeah, that's stuck in the ground. That is not something that fell there. And then the other tree that comes under is bent over, and that's stuck in the ground. I mean, like, I think it was like 5 or 6 inches when I pulled it up and put it back. And then over to the left of that, there's 2 more trees that are kind of woven in there. And I've found other tree branches stuck in the ground also, especially in that area. I found 7 or 8 of them. Some are only like 2 or 3 foot tall, and the others are like 4 or 5 foot tall. So I find that strange, and I don't even know why I find them, or it's kind of weird. I always looking at the ground. I think that's the reason I found some of the prints that I find. Uh, it's very rocky where I hike, so I watch my feet a lot, and I keep the camera up and my eyes down. So I think that's why. Also in that area is where I feel like I get walked out a lot, and that is the horse trail area. And there's not many people around. And I hike during the week. I don't go over there during the weekends because there's not a lot of people around during the week, and I can do that. So I've also had pebbles tossed at me over there. The small, like 1/2 inch to 1 inch pebbles that come up through the trees, and they would, and it's weird because usually they get thrown from the direction. I mean, they're behind me. I'll hear it behind me, and then I'll stop, and it's always the south side of me there, or the left of me that's happened 4 or 5 times. I do think that's the little one that likes
When you know
to.
that they're there,
Yeah, he likes to mess with
you
me.
down the trail.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack a little bit, and let's hear a little bit about the Milray monsters. Am I pronouncing that Milray?
Mill race monster.
Brother?
Yeah, I forgot about that. 1972. I grew up in Columbus, Indiana, before I moved up to Wisconsin. And in 1972, there were several sightings. I think 6 or 7 sightings of what they referred to as a mill race monster. My brother was actually friends with 2 of the girls. He went to high school with them, and they were all seniors and close in age. And this particular young lady, she was with 2 other girls, and they'd went over there and had their McDonald's, and they were eating. And she swears that there was something that came up out of the water. It was green, and it attacked the car, and there were scratches on the car. My brother told me about it, and of course, as soon as I found out about it, I had to be a part of that and find out what was going on. And there were scratches on the hood of the car, and there was a dent on the roof of the car. A lot of people got very upset about this. There was one gentleman that came out and said that it was him, that he was hoaxing, but he was also the town, drinker, and everybody knew him. So nobody quite fell in for that. It got so intense after like the 4th or 5th attack that, and it did seem like it would attack cars or whatever. And the river there, I can't remember right now if it's White River, goes down through there. I think that's the river, the Mill Race, but um, it's a good sized river. I mean, it has very large catfish. It's a good sized river, runs down through there, and the men in Columbus actually, went down to hunt it. They had guns and right, and it's in town, so they went to see if they could find this monster, um, and they didn't. But everyone was very. It was quite the deal in 1972 that you had 100 people with with big machetes and guns down at the park, waiting on or trying to find this thing. There have also been sightings just upriver from there. Columbus is between about 40 miles south of Indianapolis. And as you come down from Indianapolis, if you follow the river, there are other sightings that have been even recent. Like in 2020, there was a sighting along that river. My thought is perhaps it could have been a Bigfoot, and it was down in the river, and it was in summertime, and those rivers have a lot of moss and vegetation, and possibly when it came up out of there, it was covered with that.
I've been
But
hearing stories. I heard a story the other night, actually, on another podcast that a friend of mine, he lived down in Florida, and they were living in the caverns in the swamps, and they would you dive into the swamp, and they would live on the side of the banks, and they'd have to crawl in, and they could find the cavern. So maybe that's possible what's happening there. That's pretty, everything kind of lines up when you start talking about stuff from 1970. Then all of a sudden, just the other day, 2021, you hear the same thing. So who knows? It could be definitely Sasquatch for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad, we used to fish that river, and it wasn't anything. He'd gotten 20, 25-pound catfish out of there. So, it was home to a lot of good food, deer and everything around there. So I don't know, I've always sort of thought that perhaps that's what it was, that, that perhaps it was come out of the river, and that's why they thought it was green, because they never said it was reptilian or anything, just that it was green.
Right.
Never anything like that it was a lizard or anything like that.
Yeah,
so.
you never know. You never know. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another area that get back down there and see if I can follow that river a ways and see,
Yeah, I don't know if I would dive under and try and look for caverns myself.
No, I'm not a noodler.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the noodlers, they put their hand out, all of a sudden they got a 8-foot Sasquatch on the other end, and they're getting sucked in.
No thanks. We'll pass on that one.
Yeah, we're gonna backtrack again a little bit more. When you had the incident when you were young in the car, and your dad said it looked like a chimpanzee, did you guys actually drive by it, and did you take a look over the side of the car and take a look?
Oh yeah. He drove around it, and it just looked like it was black and hair is what I saw. I didn't see a face or anything. But they always talked about Atterbury, the Army base down there, and all the different animals. And I mean, they have camping areas. I mean, this base is huge. I wish I'd have looked it up and sent you how big it is. But we went fishing in there, and I mean, it was swampy. We'd have rubber boots on, and you'd have to walk through 8-9 inches of swamp, go back in there to go fishing. We did that many times. And hunting, occasionally they opened it up for hunting in the fall. They did that for 4 or 5 years in the late 60s, early 70s, but usually they didn't allow hunting, but the deer were getting to be so pesky that and we used to watch the maneuvers at night. And the only lights I've ever seen are the ones that they put up at night, the helicopters and that, and they'd be up there burning, and that was pretty cool to see. But my grandpa swore there was a bear, and my dad said that people had said when they went hunting that they had seen a bear over there in Atterbury. But it's weird because it was only within that area. So I've always wondered kind of about that too, because you hear about military bases and what goes on around there
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, D. Sims, she had the same thing, with the air base when she was in Arkansas, or I don't know, it was the Army base across the road from her. and she had similar incidents happen where there were Bigfoot, in that area. And you've heard of other bases, basically, that have.
Right. Yeah. Could have been an experiment gone wrong. The chimpanzee in the middle of the road, or no?
Yeah.
Was this the same time? All right? I have a question. How am I going to put this? Did this bear sighting stop after you guys seen that chimpanzee in the road,
No.
or did it
No.
continue after that?
Yeah. They
It continued.
continued after
It
that.
wasn't just a one thing, one
No.
day thing. So
Mm-mm.
who knows? They go on all fours, so you never know. They could
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
him as a bear, but they're smart.
Yeah.
They jump all fours,
Definitely.
tail it for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty
I've never
interesting.
seen anything, on all fours, but I do believe that they keep low to the ground when you're around, if there's bush and that, as well as trees. I do think that they like the trees a lot more than we think, and I don't know how the trees withstand the weight or whatever. But I have found a couple of in the pine area, the pine tree areas that I'm at. I found what looked to me like almost like a nest, about 35 feet up in the tree. And that was also the same time that I'd found those 4-inch tracks and 8-inch tracks. And I also found where pine boughs had been broken off, and this was not on a trail, and they had been broken off and laid down, and it looked like bedding. And that really surprised me because I'd never seen anything like that. But I always kind of wondered if the pine area there, if maybe that was like a nursery area because of the things that I found there, and that was always the area that I get the pebbles and things.
Well, you could climb. Yeah, you could climb 35 feet up and put a baby up there, and
Yeah.
they're very well
And,
protected.
yeah, and go on your way. And the wildlife we have in our area. I mean, we have so much wildlife there. I mean, like flocks of turkeys, the white-tailed deer, coyotes, like crazy. I've heard some strange sounds from them at night. The other night, I heard something that I put my recorder out, of course, and I've got to get that new recorder. And of course, it wasn't working, but it went on for like 45 seconds. It sounded, it was like a howl moan kind of sound, very, very loud. And then, about 2 minutes later, the coyotes started up. I wish I'd have got that recorded so I could, give that to somebody to analyze. But yeah, that I hadn't heard anything in a while there at the house, but I heard that and I was like, oh, that's strange. Very
Yeah,
strange because
you wonder if they do it because they're on the move, and they get the coyotes going so they can move right through the
yeah.
forest because the coyotes, make a lot of noise.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
and we have
Holler.
we have a lot of coyotes. The other night we had one right in the front yard, so they're definitely around here. Which I don't
Definitely.
really care for coyotes. I have little
Well,
dogs, so I really
I'll,
don't.
I'll tell you a little story. You guys, about we're obviously friends, but I had gallbladder surgery. Telling people that don't know me, and I wasn't going to my gifting area for a long time. Well, something came here and put ripped a coyote leg off and left it by my back here, by the back of my house. So I don't think they like coyotes too much either.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
No.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So I couldn't download the tracks for some reason. They're not coming. They won't come up. I'm trying
Okay.
to come up.
Yeah.
I will
I've
have
had
you back.
people, yeah, I've had people tell me that, that's a double step bear. It's not. I don't have a little bear in my backyard.
Right. No,
Um,
I'm with you on that. And
we
I
have
can't.
had, yeah, we have had a bear sighted about 30 miles from us, and then they, ran him back up into the north a little bit or took him away. I'm not sure, but did something with him. That was last summer. Yeah, those tracks, they're 8.5 inches long and they're about 4 inches wide. And what was strange too is I don't think I sent you. There was also a big dog that was with those. And I kind of wondered if there was a coyote, with it or something. But yeah, those tracks were 8.5 inches long, and a lot of people thought that there were claw marks. It was actually so muddy. This was in mid-March, I guess it was about March 23rd or something like that, 2 years ago. And the tracks were so deep that the mud went up around the toes. So when the foot came up, you could see, there was the mud that squished around the toes. And there was 9 or 10 tracks. They led right over to where that tree is, where I thought that looked like a nest. So that was pretty interesting. But those tracks, I saw those and I tried to talk myself out of those for the longest time. I showed them my husband and he said, well, maybe somebody had those barefoot shoes on, and I said, really, in March in Wisconsin? They're wearing, nobody goes barefoot, I don't think, in March or wears those kind of shoes in that area. It didn't, because it didn't even have a shoe print to it, like a sole would have. It was smooth in there. So, and then there was a handprint there too, which was just a little bit smaller than I think it was about the same size as my handprint. But when I saw that really, even though you see things, you still, you second guess yourself and say, oh, it's not, my brain's not working right. That can't be what I saw. Even when I saw the little toddler, my brain was still saying, nah, it can't be. That wasn't what you saw. But what was it then? I don't have an answer for that either.
Okay, I think I just worked a miracle here. Hold on once.
Did you really?
See. I think I did. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Here we come.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
And I am not a good photographer. I wish I took better pictures.
But to me, that it doesn't look like a double bear print because it's flat and it's got that mid.
Yeah, it's got a mid tarsal there.
Right.
I'm
going to try and get another one on for you too.
Yeah, tracks are so interesting to me. I found and I'd found the 4-inch tracks before this. I think it was maybe the fall before this that I saw these, and often wondered if it was, the same one growing. Because I want, how fast did they grow? I don't know. I really wonder about that. And then I found a 15-inch print, and I couldn't explain. It looked like, I don't know, it was one print you could tell was a footprint. The other one, I kept thinking maybe it was a footprint, but it just didn't look right because in the center of it, it looked like the mud had squished up like in a crack. And D.Ep.I was showing her, and she thinks it's a butt print. And once you look at it, it does look like a little butt print. Looks like mom was standing there and reached down and either set it down or picked it up. And it wasn't far from there that I found those 4-inch footprints.
Okay, I got another one coming here. Sorry about that.
No, you're doing great. It's your first time doing this.
Yeah. Let's see. Where am I now? Okay. Oh. All right, here we go. Sorry, everybody. This is new, all new. Okay, what do we got here?
That's another one of the prints farther on up, and that was the width of it.
But now, see, the other picture looked like it had maybe claws, but this one there's no claws present here. So
yeah, it was just muddy. It was in a lower area that was still really wet there, and I think it was just very muddy right there, and it went up around the. Because when you look down at the print, you can tell that mud squished up, around the toes. Because it was just that one that had the one that looked like it had claws. And then the other ones, you could just see the toes.
Right. Yeah, this definitely doesn't show any of that. It just shows the toes right here.
Yeah.
You can right across.
Mm.
All
Yeah. And
right.
that was
Pretty.
a trackway, which, I never thought I'd find a trackway with 7 or 8 prints, going across. And then I saw the handprint, and I was kind of even wondering, what the handprint was about. I
All right. Let me try and get that up here too. All right.
don't know if he was
What I'm doing is
practicing.
I'm on my phone. This is what I'm doing. I'm on my phone. I'm taking a picture on my phone.
And then
Then, and then I'm emailing it to myself, and then I'm bringing it to the computer, and then that's
well,
how I get.
whatever you're doing, it's working. So
All right. So one more here. So does anybody got any questions out there for Barbara? Here, I'm going to put in the comments here and see if we got any questions. We have a question from, I don't know, how about this? Do it. Here we go. Central Florida Bigfoot says, Barb, does your husband go with you?
no, my husband doesn't believe. I go by myself. I don't like going with people. And people tell me all the time that that's not right, but um, I go by myself. I like to go by myself. I don't like other people around. They distract me. Um, I don't take my dogs because they distract me. I take them out hiking, but not when I have the camera. And South Central Florida there, I got a gimbal to go on my phone, so he'll be happy about that, I think.
Oh, he talked you into the gimbal?
Yeah.
He's the camera guy. He's the camera
Yeah.
guru, I call him.
Yeah, so he believes they exist, and when I show him pictures, he just kind of looks at me, and he watches my channel, which I kind of wish he didn't. It makes me nervous. He believes they're in the Pacific Northwest. He believes that they're around, but that they're not around us, which I think a lot of people have that thought that, yeah, they exist, but not by me.
Okay, let's see if we got any more. I don't want to. That's it for right now. But I think I got the other picture coming. So let's see where I am at. Bring and add.
I also got a new camcorder. Lisa, Texas YouTuber, she's such a sweetheart. She sent me a little camcorder, so I might try that out too.
What did you end up getting?
I can't remember what she sent me. It's a little Canon.
Nice. Now, is that the handprint?
Yeah, that's what I think looks like a handprint.
That's what I would say. Very tiny little handprint, little thumb on the side there.
Yeah, it was a little bit. I had taken a picture of it by my hand there, and yeah, I carry a tape measure. I have a little backpack, and I have my tape measure in there.
Nice.
I was gifting for a while, and actually, I think that I followed you. I put it under a log with a rock on top where people couldn't see. But then I also left trinkets. I left a little Barbie doll one time, and that Barbie doll came and went and came and went. Her hair got all crazy, and I was curious because it would be there, and then I go back and it would be gone, and then I go back, a few days later, and it would be back, and its little dress got ripped off, its hair was all over, and then I left a quartz rock there, and that disappeared, and it never came back. So they must have liked that. I used to leave like blue clips, like you use on bread or chips, blue clips. I left a blue ink pen and the peanut butter. The first 2 times that I left a jar of peanut butter, when I came back, the lid was laying there, but no container. Then I tried something different. I had these little 2-ounce condiment containers, and I filled those with peanut butter. I did about 6 of them, and then I put them under and behind the log. I had a little, it was kind of dug out there, and I put that rock on top of it and to cover the hole. And I came back about 4 days later, and I found 2 of those containers with the lids off, and they were licked clean. There was nothing inside. So that got me going too. I mean, what does that? Licks peanut butter. And doesn't. There's no bite marks on it at all. So it could have been anything. Could have been raccoon, because those lids come off easy. So I don't know. I don't know what was taking it or doing anything because I didn't see it, and that's what I always say. I don't make any claims that I know anything except what I have seen. And I've had 3 sightings, so that I do know. But as to if it's in trees or whatever, I don't know because I've not seen them do it.
Right. I'm with you 100% on that. You can only, the evidence that you collect is the only thing you can talk about because,
Right.
still in my gifting area, I have no idea what's doing it because I've never seen anything there. But whatever's doing it, like at your area, throwing stones and take peanut butter jars away with them and takes quartz rocks and bring them back and plays the games. And so, but who knows?
Yeah. And I've caught on some of the videos I have, I've actually caught sounds. I've got 2 or 3 that I hear, hey ya. But I don't, it could be paranormal, I don't know, because I do believe in ghosts too. I mean, I'm out in the woods, I don't know. I've heard moans. I've got one that there's a real deep moan. People say that they growl. I almost wonder if that wasn't what this sort of sounds like, but I don't call it a growl. It sounds like a deep moan. I've caught a couple of wood knocks. One day I was sitting at the gifting spot and I was like, well, if you guys are around, just give me a shout. And all of a sudden I hear an owl just go, whoo. And that was it. One whoo. Yep. And it was very, very loud. And we do have a lot of owls, barred owls, great horned owls, all kinds of owls up here. But it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I got one whoo. So
right, after you asked for it,
after I'd said, right. And another time I'd said, well, hey, if you guys want more peanut butter, you're going to have to say something. You're going to have to let me know. And that was in December in 2 years ago. And I went through this video. Was doing a video at the same time, and I could not hear the sound on there, but I could hear this mechanical sound on the top of the bluff, and it was going from one end of the bluff to the other, and I could hear it clear as day. But I go through the video and I can't hear it. It sounds just so mechanical. It sounds almost like a wind-up mechanical toy. How when it walks, it makes that tick, click, click sound. And that's what it sounded like, and I could hear it. And there wasn't anybody else out the park. Or in the area that I was at, that there weren't any cars around or anything. And that part of the bluff, it couldn't have been a vehicle because they closed that off in December, 1st of December. And, I kept looking, and I knew the sound, and I could hear the sound, and I knew which direction it was going. But boy, it did not come on that video at all. And I've tried a lot of things with it. Recording is something I want to. I'm getting that new recorder for my birthday in a couple of weeks, so I'm excited about that. That's going to be my birthday present to myself.
The recorders are awesome tools to have. I leave mine in bird feeders. I buy bird feeders. I'll drop them in, and then I'll just go out in the woods and I'll just drop it on a tree and leave it for the night, and then come back the next day and go through them. So it's a great tool to have. Yeah,
I've got an area where I want to do it, and it's not far from the house, so I'm really excited. I want to do that. I can't wait a couple of weeks. I'm going to start doing that.
Nice.
And then recording at the house at night too, because of sounds that go on that I'd like to catch there. It was weird this winter. The past 3 winters, at night, how when the weather it gets like sub-zero. I don't know if you get that, but even the wood outside will start to freeze up and it'll
And creep.
pop. Yeah,
Yep.
and you'll hear it just like pop. Um, Now we've had, we've had that happen in the spring when it's not sub-zero, and actually we had a thaw last year. I think it was earlier in the year, and I was sitting there. I think it was in March or April, and all of a sudden outside, I mean, it was like 40s, 50s. It wasn't sub-zero, and you could hear that pop, that big bang, and it almost shook the house. And my husband looked at me and he goes, "Well, what was that?" And I said, "You don't want to know what I think it was," because you know, I'm pretty sure that I've had an owl outside my window that will actually it does the whistle. I do a whistle when I go into the woods. I greet them and tell them I'm there. Say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm visiting. I'm not gonna. I mean you no harm." And then I do this whistle. Well, I had an owl that woke me up one night at like 2 a.m, and it was doing, it was an owl hoot, but it was in the rhythm to my whistle, and it was like, okay,
Yeah, you got to get
all
you got
right,
to get that recorder going because you got some
yep,
pretty unique
yeah,
stuff going on.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we use here. We just use whistles. We don't knock. We don't use because who knows what a knock is, you know?
Oh, I don't knock. I just whistle when I go in, and like it's something to identify myself. I don't hoot. I don't holler. Um, I've had some whoops a couple of times, um, but usually it's you know, they. I mean, it's weird because I would have never believed that you could actually feel or know. I mean, there's days I'll go out there and I'll go, oh, there's nothing. I just walk. I don't even turn on the camera or anything or recorder because it's you get no feeling. You just feel like there's nothing happens. And there's other days, I'll get out of the car and it'll be like you just okay, somebody's here.
Yeah.
you know. And I used to, when YouTube used to only have to have 100 to go live, and I go out at night and go live by myself and sit there. And I'd sit at a picnic table or in the car. I'm not that brave, but one night, it was 2019 in the spring. I was sitting in the car and I thought I saw some eyes, and there were people on the chat, and they were like, "Oh, we see eye shine," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I thought I did, but it could be anything." It was about 4 foot high, so deer easily, but it was like pretty big. And then there was something scurrying around the back of the car, and I couldn't catch it, but that was like around the same time that I'd found, those 4-inch prints. And I always thought they'd like to mess with me. I think the little ones,
Oh
especially
yeah.
after I saw the small one. After that, then that's when a lot of the interaction. That's when the pebbles started being tossed, and then wasn't long after that. Then I saw the one duck behind the tree. It was about 5 foot tall, and then it wasn't long after that. I mean, my 3 sightings happened probably within 18 months. Uh, it was like they were, okay, we're here, I guess. I don't know. The one I saw duck down in the bush, how you're walking along and then you see something and you're not sure what it is. And I turned and I looked and I thought, I just saw, like a duck, something. And then all of a sudden you see these eyes come up over this, this tree that's crossed down. There was some debris and brush, and it was behind there. And I stood there and I was staring at it. I had my camera, I had it on, and he was just looking at me. He had looked like a teenager to me for some reason. Didn't look old. Had like a Beatles haircut. Um, and the flat, kind of original looking nose. I could only see the top part of the lip, couldn't see the bottom of the jaw or anything like that. High cheekbones. It looked like a person to me. He was, and I say he, I don't know if it was he or she, but just staring at me. And I stood there and stared at him, and then I just walked away. He's still there. I just walked away. I was like, okay, you know. And then
And that's
you
probably why
still
they come
think,
back.
yeah, and then you're still like, well, did I, am I losing my mind here or what's going on? But I mean,
Yeah.
that I can see that face. I mean, you don't forget that face. You just, it's just right there in your brain. I know what I saw now, and once you see
Just,
it, that you know it.
and you can't stop, and then it just increases.
Yeah.
The to get out there just it takes over your whole life.
Yeah, you get a bug and you just have to, you have to know, you have to see again. And I've only been afraid once, and I don't know what was going on, but I went into an area and I had it was very oppressive, and even on the video, I called it the dark woods, and people were like, yeah, they could even feel, that it just didn't seem right. And I don't usually turn around. I keep going. Is daylight. If it was dark, I'd probably turn around
Right.
and run. It's just like, okay, something's going on.
It's good though to trust your instinct in situations like that because I've been hearing a lot of stories lately of the other things
Uh-huh.
and uh and yeah, trust your instincts because there's things that can follow you home and they're saying all
Yeah.
this. I don't know for a fact. We actually have a question here from somebody if I can get in there. From mid South Sasquatch cryptid.
Mark.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the
Mark's been
question.
camping. He's been out in the woods.
There it is. We'll show it. Here we go. Barb, do you believe in the others that aren't as well talked about?
I figure if I've seen a Sasquatch and I never thought that I would see that my mind's pretty open. I've seen ghosts, so you know, there's things out there that we don't know about. I do believe that. And I think you can't be closed-minded to it. Um, I think if you're closed-minded to it, that's when things can get to you more or prey on you. If you're open to that, it can be. You can have a defense. I do believe in God, and I do prayer when I go out. I pray that do a prayer for protection when I go out. Um, so that's like some of the recordings that I've gotten that, I hear a hey or a on there, I don't know what that is. Because what is it that could be that close to the recorder and make that sound and I not see it?
Right.
I don't know. But I
Very
believe
creepy.
that yeah, if you believe in good, you got to believe in the bad.
Oh,
There's darkness, but there's light.
well, I agree with you. We have a lot in common with our research and
Yeah.
investigations, and yeah, wow, a lot I never knew before until tonight. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah. I like following you. I've watched um, I know you don't put a lot of videos, but what you do is so good. You have high quality. Where I just kind of walk through the woods and I throw it up. Here I am. I don't do a lot of editing. I just, I'll go for a walk and out of a couple hours, I'll pick out 15, 20, 30 minutes and post it. A lot of the people on my channel can't get out in the woods. And I feel very fortunate that I am able to walk and have my health again, and I can get out and walk, for a few hours a day. And a lot of people like walking with me, just seeing the woods in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, and you see the
Right.
different changes. Like right now, everything's just starting to bud out up here. We're just getting tiny buds on the trees, and you can still see pretty far. But in 6 weeks time, it'll be something could be 5 foot from me and I wouldn't know it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. No, all the editing doesn't help anything, anyways. I don't only get like 200 views on my videos, anyways. So I think people enjoy the walking through, the
Yeah,
15-minute videos more.
yeah,
But what we're
yeah.
gonna
And
try.
I don't talk a lot either. I don't. I figure you want to hear the sounds of the nature. If I hear something or see something, I'll bring attention to it. But other than that, I just walk. We do have a water, one of the big attractions, I think, to my area is the fact that there's a fresh underground spring that runs year round, and the pond and the stream are always open. So there's water there all the time. And but I think that's why there's such an abundance of wildlife, and possibly they're attracted to that area is because there is fresh water running all the time.
No,
And
I think they're
especially in a
attracted
cold
to it.
environment. Yeah. And we've got a stream, a trout stream. One of the best ones in Wisconsin isn't far from my house. And we have a bird farm on behind this area too. It's, like half a mile away from there. The guy raises all sorts of different pheasants and I can't remember what else, but quails, I think. And he does hunts with people. He takes them out and they release like 30 birds, and you take, and you always see those birds wandering around because they're lost. They don't know how to do
Right,
anything
right.
in the wild. They're tame birds.
Yeah.
So there's just such an abundance of wildlife in the area. And that intrigues me too, because unlike a lot of people, I really think that Bigfoot is more carnivore. I think they eat berries and fresh, dandelion greens or mustard greens or whatever are available. I don't think they're just herbivore. I'm sure they're omnivore, but I think that they do a lot of protein. I think because you hear about how muscular they are, and I mean the one I saw, there's no fat. It's just muscle, and a lot of that comes from when you hear about people. Of course, I do keto, and a lot of people I know and that I deal with, the fat comes off, and you get this lean muscle underneath. And that's the same kind of thing. The dark leafy greens, the berries, man's
For sure.
natural diet, actually, I suppose, without all the sugars and type of things. That's why I
And that's
never took cookies or anything like that.
right. The size of them, they have to eat all the time. They have to gather for the winter, I believe. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that here when the mushrooms come out in the late fall,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be everywhere. 3 days later, there won't be another mushroom. I'm just talking about one of our areas. There won't be a mushroom to be had
Yeah.
anywhere, and the
And
deer
same
aren't.
thing with the berries. You see that
Yeah,
with berries too, don't you?
yeah. They gather them all and they take
Mm-hmm.
them. That's just the way I think, and it just sounds like you got the
Yeah.
same thing up there. Plentiful,
Yeah.
and they're always, they gather. I don't know where they go for the winter yet, but I wish I did.
I
I think.
think the ones I have up here, I think they stay because I have when I was out. Um, the one time that I tried snowshoeing in the foot snow, I did find some tracks that led me to believe that perhaps they were still there. And I have in February had them around, and in December and November. So I don't think they possibly move around, but because there's weeks that I go and I don't feel anything or know any, and then there's weeks that that they're there. So they're probably a range, but I don't think that they leave here in the winter. I think they go underground. That's
Mhm.
my I think they utilize caves and
Yeah, I
go
agree with you
underground.
100% on that. If they migrated and they say they go south, then all of a sudden you got, say there's, I don't know, 5,000 Sasquatch. They migrate
Yeah,
south and
yeah,
they all go to North Carolina. Well, what's going to happen in North Carolina? You're going to have 5,000 Sasquatch in the woods of North Carolina. They're going to be everywhere. Everybody's
uh-huh.
going to see them. So that's the migration thing. I don't think they migrate, but
Yeah,
I'm with you
yeah.
on
And
that.
people talk about them depleting the area. Well, if it's a family group of 4 or 5, I don't think they would deplete, what's in the area. I mean, there's just too much. The farm boys hunt coyotes in February, and last year they had 37 coyotes hung up. So
Yeah.
I mean, how often do you see a coyote?
Right.
Yeah, I see them once in a while because they're attracted to our area. I saw one the other night, but you don't see them daily.
No.
And turkey, we see flocks of turkeys. You can see them every day around
Yeah.
our house. So, I mean, there's just abundance of food.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So we're gonna check the questions here one more time. If you guys got questions for Barbara, please feel free to ask. This has been awesome. I didn't know
Yeah.
all this. It's been great to have you on. It's always nice to learn more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah. I'm a chatter. I can chat.
I'm the opposite. I don't chat.
I do want to try some things this year, like with the reverse tape. Haven't you done that for hair samples, possibly?
See,
But I got to
I'm trying to
set
come
up a
up with some
new.
ideas for some DNA because we do have a geneticist that's working with us now, and I'm trying to come up with a way to make a homemade DNA trap. Like,
Yeah.
you ever see Les Stroud did it on when
Yeah.
he did his it was like a little pin and it stuck up, and then if the thing stepped on it, it would take the skin in,
Yep.
and then there was like cloth at the bottom that caught the blood. I want to figure out how to build something like that and try that.
Yeah. I can't remember now. Arkansas Bigfoot, is that what they're called? Ken and I can't remember right now. I my
Yep,
memories
that's
might
what
have
they are.
issues.
Yep, down. Yep,
Yeah, they
Louis,
had
wherever
they
they
did
are.
that time. They had that box that they put in their gifting area, and and they found hair because they put something inside the box, and I can't remember what they put around the edges. I'm
Yep.
gonna go back and look at that one because I was thinking, once I get a gifting, but I got to get a new gifting spot going, and I got to get that going for a few months or maybe a year before I can. I don't want to do anything to hurt them and make them mad and them go away either.
Right, right.
So, so
I never do experiments near the spot. Always
yeah,
away from it. And if they bite, they bite. If they don't, I don't
mhm,
force it because
yeah,
I don't want to ruin it either.
yeah,
It's more important to keep it going than DNA sample to me. That's the
yeah,
truth.
yeah. It is for me too. I basically do this for myself. I don't do it for, you know.
To actually have something throw a rock at you in the woods is like the coolest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And at first you're
I
like, oh,
wanna-
was that an acorn falling out of the tree? Then you look down
Right,
and
right.
you're like, no, those are
Yeah.
pebbles, and they're
At
coming
first
out
it
of the
was a little, at
forest.
first it was scary. It was a little, I was unnerved, but now they're doing it here. They never did it until this year here, ever.
Uh-huh.
Ever. Now this year they threw stones at us all August, September, and October. Just followed us to let us know where they were. They followed us everywhere.
Uh-huh.
It was
Yeah.
cool. It was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Do you
that
think it's
means
the
more
young
to me.
ones?
I know it's definitely little ones
Yeah.
because they're 50 feet from us. We're here in the Knox. I mean,
Yeah.
they're right there. They're right there, and you can't
Yeah.
see them because if it was a big 8, 10 footer, then you'd be able to see something. I
Hmm.
think, or who knows?
Oh,
Who knows?
well, they do blend in pretty good,
Yeah,
but yeah,
they're the
yeah,
masters of their domain.
yeah, yeah, they are. Someone put a picture of an owl yesterday. I can't remember. It was a barred owl, and it was against a tree. And I mean, if it didn't have his eyes open, you would not have known it was there.
Right, right.
You know.
Yeah, those barred owls drive you crazy at night too, along with the
Uh-huh.
coyotes. They all start yipping at once, and you never know what's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think gifting area like you think is. I think gifting areas can give a ton of information. You know when they're there. You know when they're
Hmm.
coming. You know what time of the year. Like you say in the winter, without you having a gifting area in the winter, you would never know they were there in February.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They visit
Yeah.
once a week in February, if that. And that's what
Hmm.
I'm with you on the same page. They got the same stuff going, and that's the same evidence that they're around in February and January. So they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they migrate south. It just seems weird to me that they're like, well, they travel like they migrate like the birds or whatever. I think they're different. um you know they're part of their environment. It's like, a lot of people in the north, when it gets to 55, 60, that you see everybody in shorts, and you go down to Florida and it's 55, 60, people have their winter coats off, so you are a product of your environment. And I think that, they withstand, they're made for their environment. They've
Right.
been here a while.
Yep. I'm with you 100%. Lady in the Woods says hi.
Hey, Dee. She's a sweetheart.
Okay, I think we don't that's no more questions.
Okay.
So let's find out what you have planned for the future here and what do we look forward to seeing from the channel this year.
Recordings and a lot more hiking, a lot more out in the woods. And if I can, if I get the channel up to 1,000, then I'll do my nighttime lives again, which I really, really enjoyed that. Sitting out there, listening and watching in the dark. So that's my plan is recording for sure. A lot more recording.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And who do you use for what do you use for like your editing programs and stuff?
I I don't use anything right now. I use iMovie. That's what I use for my
Well, make sure
videos.
once you get your recordings to contact me, and
Yeah,
then I'll set you up
yeah,
to,
yeah. Because
to
I
where
haven't done anything with that yet. I really want to.
that's
That's what
awesome.
my next step is
You gotta
working
start
with
getting
that.
scared though.
Yeah.
I picked up recordings of this. I'll tell you a little story. We're up at Rock Throw Alley is the place we were at, and there's this big oak tree that fell, years and years ago,
Hmm.
but just the big root ball sitting there. And we're going up, and we just went by it. Same, hiked right by, hiked by, got home, listened to the video. You heard this old guy go, "Look at the old oak tree," just like that. Right when we were at the bottom coming up the thing, we didn't see the oak tree yet. Look, I got
Yeah.
goosebumps on my arms from it. It's in one of my
I got
videos.
goosebumps. And I wasn't there.
Yeah, it's in Sounds of the Forest. Yeah, he just goes, "Look at the oak tree." It is crazy. Oof. Well, the recording stuff is cool. You'll catch a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait. I know Sawdust Beast, Markin does a lot over there. And,
Yeah, they're
Spencer
awesome
Jameson's
guys.
been doing a lot. Yeah, I like those guys. They're
Yeah,
good
Spencer's
guys.
awesome. They're all awesome.
Hmm.
They're all awesome people.
Yeah, yeah. I am going down to LBL this summer too. We're looking at getting a camper or an RV. We haven't decided. It may be a van with a bed in it. We don't know, but we're going to get something and get out. And my son even said that he'll go down to LBL with me and camp with me. So that's definitely in my plans this summer to do that.
I'd like to get down there too and see all them guys and hang out.
Hmm.
But we'll see what
Yeah, they
happens.
have a good time.
Yeah, it looks like it. They enjoy it, and
Yeah,
they're boots on the ground. That's the most important thing.
yeah,
That's the only way to do it. Boots on the ground, if you can.
yeah. And if you can't, hang out with people who can.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. All right. Well, thank you very, very much for
Well,
joining us for our first episode
well,
tonight.
thank you for inviting me. It's
We'll have you
quite an
back again
honor.
later on in the road. Yeah, it's our honor to have you here. What did Lady in the Woods say? No, I want to know too. Oh, she's saying she wanted to know too what goes on if they. But Robin Ward said enjoyed your show. Thanks, Chris and Barb. Well, thank you for coming and tuning
Thanks,
in.
Robin.
So that's it. Episode 1 went all right, right?
All
We didn't
right.
mess up
Yeah,
too bad.
you did
No,
good.
it was all right. It was all right. We did good. Okay. I am going to say goodbye to Barbara, and then I'm going to have a couple words with everybody, and then you want to hang
Okay.
around for a couple seconds. I'll talk to you when I'm done and over with the rest of them.
All righty.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
We'll
Bye,
see you again.
everybody.
All right, everybody. Well, that was it. Episode 1 of DiscoverSasquatch. Thank you for tuning in. It was this is all trial and error for us right now, and we appreciate everybody who joined in and add some questions, and we really appreciate it. We're going to keep this, about an hour. If you are interested in being on the show, Berkshire, what's it? What's it? Oh yeah, Berkshire. What is it? Berkshire Sasquatch? Berkshire? Oh my goodness. All right. Rhino, RHINO 4782 at gmail.com is my email address. I forgot the one I think it's Berkshire. Oh yeah, Berkshire Bigfoot at gmail.com is the other one. Sorry. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and you want to be on the show, be more than happy to have you. And thanks for joining us. And as always, get in the woods.